Hey, Little Miss Foxy. Tonight, in our Animal Investigations Unit, we're fighting to protect America's wild horses. Right now, there are about 45,000 wild horses being kept in U.S. government holding pens at taxpayer expense. What's worse, about 700 of these horses are in open pens in Wyoming and Utah, where temperatures dip below 20 degrees and 20 degrees below zero with the wind chill at night. And the person responsible for putting these horses there and keeping them there, Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell.
Horses are really good at reproducing. 20% a year. That means the herd doubles in size every 3.5 years. That's a lot of horses.
But the truth is, the wild horse population has been decimated by our U.S. government, which keeps rounding them up using terrorizing helicopters. What Sally Jewell doesn't say is that there used to be millions out there. She also refuses to tell us what she's going to do with the 45,000 horses she's holding in these holding pens. We have called repeatedly. She will not answer our question. What happens to these horses long term? Why won't she answer that simple question? What do you plan to do? Are you going to keep these horses in these holding pens forever? Critics are furious, many saying the horses in places like Utah and Wyoming look like they're freezing to death. In the wild, horses could use natural windbreaks like gullies or low-lying areas, not to mention they can run around to stay warm. In these pens, they have very limited movement. The BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, claims these horses are fine, nothing to see here. But one well-known photographer visited one of these pens in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and says the horses look like they're suffering. Joining me now is that wild horse advocate and noted photographer, Carol Walker. Carol, you brought these pictures of the horses huddled together in the snow to show us, and we're going to show these pictures while you're talking. The BLM claims, there's a statement, they're providing these horses with windbreaks, food, and water, and check them to make sure they're healthy. What did you see when you went to this facility with these horses?
Well, Jane, I went that morning, and these horses had been rounded up just a week ago, and it was snowing, and the wind was howling. It was hard to walk to the viewing area. And I saw the horses huddled together. They looked absolutely miserable. And those that were more dominant were eating, and those that were less dominant were standing there just looking miserable. And it was particularly hard to see the mares and foals. And some of those foals are not very old, and there was no way for them to get shelter out of the wind. And so, this is not atypical. Other short-term holding facilities of the BLM also do not provide any sort of shelter in the summer when it's blistering heat over 102 degrees in Nevada.
What do you make of the fact that we call the Interior Secretary, Sally Jewell, repeatedly and ask her office, what are you going to do with these horses? And they refuse to answer. They say no comment, or they give us some video of her talking about something that doesn't answer the question. How is it that our government can be so unresponsive? I mean, they don't answer individuals, but they don't even answer a major news organization that calls them repeatedly and asks them a very simple question. You have 45,000 wild horses sitting in these holding pens, languishing as temperatures drop, and you don't tell us what you're going to do with them. What's your response to that, Carol? Why do you think they will not tell us?
Well, I'm certainly hoping, Jane, it isn't because they're planning to send them to slaughter. I have been very upset that Sally Jewell has been unresponsive to any of our questions to her. And these horses are so much better off in the wild. That's where they belong. They should not be rounded up by helicopter and stuck in these pens. There's plenty of room for these horses. It's all political that's putting them there.
It's all about the Interior Department representing industry.